page number 104, 105, so in the middle of your packet. So I'm going to give you a question, opening question. I want you to think about it. So this will give you some ideas what we're going to talk about in this class. Okay, I want you to read case number 2. So this page, discussions, page number 123, and then you will see 2 discussion questions. The first one is case 1 and number 2 is case 2. So this is a based on fact. 2001, Florida Marlins outfielder, baseball player, Cliff Floyd claimed the National League manager Bobby Valentine promised him a spot on the National League All-Star team. So Valentine was the All-Star team head coach. So head coach has all the authority to assign who's going to play for this All-Star game. So Cliff Floyd believed the Valentine, the head coach of the team, All-Star team. And then based on this, Floyd claims that he spent $16,000 on flight ticket for his family. I will be playing on All-Star games. And then I want to invite my family, my mom and my father, my sister, to watch me play at the All-Star game. So his family could watch him play All-Star game because he spent $16,000 for their flight ticket. However, Valentine did not name Floyd to All-Star team and denies that he ever made such a promise to Floyd. So question, does Floyd have any recourse? So which means, do you believe Cliff Floyd can get the money back from the coach, Valentine? So what do you think? So what if other players kind of listen to what Coach Valentine said? So there's evidence. There's evidence. Other people heard him saying Cliff Floyd will be playing for All-Star game. However, Coach Valentine changed his mind. In the meantime, Cliff Floyd spent $16,000, a lot of money, on flight ticket. So he asked him, "Oh, I need my money back because my parents canceled their flight because I will be playing."
Well, with the given information, I believe that Cliff Floyd will be able to ask Coach to pay him back because even though it was oral commitment, I still believe that as long as there's evidence for the people who have heard it, and I'm pretty sure he has enough evidence for the reasons.
Okay. So Bak Jong-un said he will be able to get the money back because this is part of our sort of order contract, which can be effective as long as there is some evidences. Yeah.
I think he cannot get the full amount of money, in part because purchasing the plane ticket is his own decision.
Okay, so probably you claiming that the coach Valentine didn't ask him to buy the ticket. So this is a kind of separate story. That makes sense too. Okay. However, what if, think this way, if Coach Valentine didn't tell him that he would be playing at the All-Star game, then he wouldn't have bought the ticket for his family. So this is about cause and effect. You told me I'm playing, therefore I bought a ticket. So there's some causation. if you didn't tell me and I haven't heard anything from my coach, coach Valentine, I would have bought the ticket. That probably waste of money, right? Okay, so this is one of the case that we're going to talk about. Order contract. If I tell you the result, he can be able to get the money back because this is order commitment, and we call it promissory estoppel. This is one of the content I'm going to cover at the PowerPoint. Promissory estoppel. Promissory estoppel. Verbal contract. However, I want you to think about who told you. Does he have any authority to assign the player? Yes. And then there's no reason I didn't believe him. He's a coach. Coach said I'll be playing. Why do I have to suspect him? Okay, I gotta trust him. So what about number? I'm actually one of the starting player in the All-Star game. He was hurt. So fortunately, Cliff Floyd was able to play. So there's no lawsuit. It was very fortunate. Okay, what about case number 1? I want you to read it. So generally speaking, university athletic coaches starting recruiting the players when the players are junior status. So right before they actually become senior year in high school. And then they try to offer as much as possible. Okay, we're going to provide 4-year scholarship, but it was not right because athletic scholarship will be renewed year by year. Think about the nature of sporting event. Football, basketball, judo, tennis will be hurt. What if I'm selected one of the best players, so I'm guaranteed 4-year scholarship, but after 1 year, I was injured. I broke my arm, I broke my leg. I won't be able to play. Okay, university doesn't lose any money. So they want to review the results and outcomes of each year of athletic performance and then say, okay, this year, I'm going to list all the top players who will receive the scholarship. Especially basketball team, Division 1 university, 13 players will receive full scholarship, which means tuition will be waived, and the dormitory will be paid by the school, and stipend, some athletic, some bonuses up to $2,000. Each player will receive about 200만 원 just playing sports monthly. It's different school by school. Some universities offer up to 5,000. So I think new rules indicate that no one can receive more than $5,000 yearly basis because university lasts only 9 months, right? Okay. So used to pay $2,000 for 1 academic year, and they need up to $5,000, not monthly. I just made a mistake to say that. Okay, but this coach actually offered a 4-year scholarship, so he believed it because he's a recruiting coach. I'm the high school player, high school student. I'm just junior. So university recruiting coach contact me and then explain me I would receive 4-year scholarship no matter what happens. So I chose that university, attended, and then first 3 years I was fortunate. My scholarship has been renewed for 3 times, and then at my senior year I have 1 more year to play, and then I will be graduating. However, the coach changed his mind. I'm not on the list, so I have to pay out of my pocket. My parents have to pay for my tuition and fee to attend this university for 1 more year. So he filed a claim. So if it's the case, then if you were the Larry Rouge, what would you do? You file a claim. Do you think you can get the scholarship money because your coach promised? Okay, so what if, I mean, there's no reason Larry Roach has to know the NCAA regulations. It's more than 1,000 page regulations. How could he know? I mean, as a high school student, he just played basketball for a long time. And then he's not a student, university student even. And then coach said, okay, this is what he would offer. So I don't believe Larry Roach has to understand this athletic scholarship should be renewed year by year by NCAA regulations. So this is the same thing. If you my TA for this class for the entire semester, then I can say, I can promise you, I'm going to give you A grade. Okay, this is a oral commitment, and then other students listen to what I said. And then at the end of the semester, I changed my mind. You perform your job, your duties and responsibility as a TA. However, I didn't like it, whatever reason. So I didn't give you A grade, and then you claim. And everyone in this class heard him say, you know, I would give you A grade, but result was not A grade. So it's kind of an order contract, and there's evidence. Okay, so I want you to think about who said it. I am the person who's going to give you the grade. Okay, and then there's no other reason you didn't trust me. Does it make sense? Not really. So I'm the person who's going to give you a grade, and then if I say something about your grade, then you have to trust me. Okay? Why wouldn't you trust me? That doesn't make sense. Okay. But if other professor, Dr. Choi, for example, said to you, hey, you know, you be on TA, then Dr. Park would give you a grade. I promise him to give you a grade. Then he's a third party. But if I say to you, and then I'm going to give you a grade, whatever reason, based on your performances, then there's no other reason you didn't have to trust me. Okay, so Park Jong-won and Choi Jin kind of brought up some new notion, which is order contract. Do you believe order contract will be effective? Order contract. Chris, what do you think? Order contract.
Contract?
Yeah, order contract, verbal contract.
Speaking.
Yeah.
I think.
Is it part of the contract, do you think? Okay. I mean, that's true, because order contract is a sort of contract. But problem is, we do not encourage you to have an order contract, because it will be extremely hard to prove it. From the last week's guest speakers, Attorney Kim mentioned that order contract is a contract. However, the evidence, the testimony, will not satisfy the jury or judge 100%. So they need to provide some evidence, right? Order contract, because I'm going to tell you based on my memory what happened 3 years ago on a certain day. And then I'm going to tell you what happened based on my memory. There's no evidence. I didn't write any diary on that day, so we don't know for sure what happened. However, I was called to the court, and prosecutor asked me what happened, and then I just explained it, to be honest, right? Based on my memory and my recall. But there is no reason jury or judge believe your statement 100%. So you need to provide some other evidences, clear and strong evidences. So, generally speaking, So this is page number 111. Generally speaking, other contracts are enforceable. Generally speaking, right? However, we strongly encourage you to have a written contract, especially for 3 types of business transaction. Number 1, agreement for the sale of land or an interest in land. So if you're trying to build a new stadiums in arena, then you need to buy a land, right? Then you need to have the contract in writing. That's the bottom line. Number 2, contract for the sale of goods priced at $500 or more, then you gotta have the contract in writing. Number 3, contract that cannot be performed within 1 year of the formation of the contract. So if you borrow some money from the bank, like a 30-year contract, if you buy a house and you have to have a loan from the bank, 15-year or 30-year kind of period of time to pay back, right? So it can be performed within 1 year. Okay, I don't believe you can remember and they can remember what happened in 30 years. So you need to have a contract in writing. That's the kind of bottom line. But I'm going to explain what promissory estoppel for 2 cases we talked about, because this is a kind of a common issue that we can see in sports setting, especially in Korea. Contract in writing is not one of the common business transaction in Korea. So we can say, okay, I'm going to give you money back, like $100 or $20 in next week. But there's no contract. I just promise you. So, any questions so far? So, there are some fundamental elements of the contract. So we covered briefly about what contract is from 2 weeks ago, and there's 4 elements required to be good contract. Number 1, agreement. 2, consideration. 3, capacity. And 4, legality. Let's talk about agreement. Offer, acceptance, counteroffer. So if I'm selling the coffee to $4, and then you say, hey, that's too expensive, $4 too expensive, and then you can counteroffer. What about $3? Or I can reoffer, okay, $3.50. So in terms of series of negotiation, we can actually agree how much you're gonna pay, how much I'm going to receive for the coffee. So this is a consideration. Are we talking about the same object? Are we talking about the same services? Such as if you want to sign up for using the gymnasium for a certain event, okay, you need to fill out some kind of documentation application form. What day? Certain day, December 13th. What's the name of the event? And then how many people do you expect? Players and spectators separated. Okay? And then how many spaces you want to use? And then who is responsible for cleanup and setup? And then do you have any insurance premiums? Something happened, right? Someone's injured. Then who's going to be responsible? University or you or your organization? So you need to verify if we're talking about the same object or services or product. And then capacity. So this will be on your exam next week. Capacity and legality. You need to discern what's the difference between capacity and legality. Capacity. I want you to add one more word. Legal capacity. Right before capacity, I want you to add with a parenthesis legal capacity. Can you name some groups of people who are not capable of contracting?
People who are not allowed or under 18.
Okay, so under 18, based on age, then they are not able to sign any contract. Okay, we just covered that a couple times. What else? Who else? Mental illness, mental disability. Some groups of people, right? Even though who are there over 18 years old, then some reason there's the mental reason they're not able to, or we can say they are legally incapable. Legally incapable. What about some other situations, specific situations? Under influence. Yeah. Some people who are, I mean, even though they are adult, but under influence like a drug, alcohol, okay, some of the materials or substances, then, you know, we can say they are temporarily and then legally incapable in terms of contract. Okay. What about legality? Legality. So Kim Dae-won, the attorney from the last week, he's mentioned that in the casino, online gambling, sports gambling, right? I think the Samsung Ryans, couple of pitchers actually were under investigate in charge of playing gambling in Macau, right? So according to the newspaper, one of the player actually borrows about $700,000 or so, and then lost that much money and pay back when he came back to Korea. But what if the pitcher didn't pay the money back to the Macau, the mafia in Macau? Then what's gonna happen? Because all the gambling issue will be kind of violating of the Korean law, right? Korean law. Okay, so you cannot take the money out without report, especially when you bring more than $10,000 or equivalent amount of money in Korean won, then you have to report, right? And then they didn't do it. They passed that process. So instead of reporting, then actually they got the money from the mafia from Macau and spent that much money, and then came back and they pay back in Korean money. So anyway, they kind of violated some kind of regulations. And then if they didn't pay the money back, I don't believe they have to pay back, because gambling and violating some of the Korean regulation, Korean law, will be strict against strictly legality part of the contract. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to pay back money, give the money back when I come back to Korea, even though I just write the contract in writing. Okay, this is the amount of money I'm going to borrow from you, and then I'm going to pay this much money on certain date. So this is part of the contract, right? This sort of contract. However, this type of contract, this type of behavior is against the law. Then this contract will be, or I can say, may be void. VOID. Okay, so this is one of the example of legality. Okay, make sense? Okay. Okay. So contract damages for breach of contract. So I'm going to give you a couple of damages. How to compensate the breach of contract. Breach of contract. When I say breach, this is a 위반. Breach of contract. 계약 위반. Okay. And there's two types of 계약 위반, breach of contract. So this will be seen on the last page of your PowerPoint. Number one, termination for just cause. Termination for just cause. Morales clause. what happened in Kobe Bryant in 2004? He had some adultery issue with a Colorado college student, female student. So, McDonald's and Adidas were endorsers of Kobe Bryant at the time. So they breached the contract. 계약 취소했죠? 일방적으로. We breached the contract because your unethical behavior. Your unethical behavior, okay, affected the image of our company in a negative way. So based on our contract, so this is the reason we breached the contract for just cause. Which means you need to pay our company back. Typically 3 to 10 times more money than we paid you. So if I say Korean, probably 걸그룹 알죠? If they violate the regulation, whatever they regulation have within the house, then probably they need to pay back the 3 or 10 times, 3 up to 10 times more money than the girl group received. So how much money does it take to educate, to train the girl group until they become high school ages? About 2억 원. So we invest 2억 원, about $200,000 to your group. And you never debut, you never had a chance to debut. And then when they over 19 years old, and then they're asking, you need to pay me back this much money. So there's some unethical behaviors happens. So okay, and the termination without cause, wrongful termination. As a human being, if you want to transfer, if you want to play some other team, then we cannot force you to stay within the team. We have to let you go. However, you need to pay the money back, some kind of a compensation. How much money? We have a 5-year contract with you, and then you just want to leave to play for the team at the end of third year out of 5-year contract. Then this much money owe us or owe you either way. If I want to fire my coach with 2 years left on their contract, then there's some specific amount of money can be seen in the contract. So we pay you, and then we want to fire you. Or either way, vice versa. You want to leave to coach other team, other school, then you need to pay this amount of money, and then we will let you go. So this is not a criminal law, this is the civil law. So as long as you meet my needs and want in terms of breach of contract, then we will be okay. So there's a couple of examples of termination for just cause. Going back to your packet. So this is page number 126. Example of termination for just cause. In case of Maddox versus University of Tennessee, the court upheld the termination of an assistant football coach after the coach was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. So this is one of the unethical behavior. Coaches and head coaches will be role models of young athletes, right? So as long as you can clearly state this statement in the contract, such as DUI or undesirable behavior by coach or other people within the organization, then we will breach the contract for just cause. We don't have to pay any money back to you because that's your fault. Unfortunately, there's one sad case. Years ago, one of the BYU, Brigham Young University basketball players, his mom passed away. So he got a call in the late night. So he was from kind of poor family, so he doesn't have a car. And then in the about between 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. he got a call. Your mom just passed away. You need to come to the house and then attend the funeral. So he need to buy a ticket, flight ticket. He doesn't have any money and doesn't have any ride to the airport. So he called his head coach, BYU head coach. He's one of the great person, and asked him, Coach, my mom just passed away. I need to attend the funeral as soon as possible. So the head coach picked him up and dropped him up at the airport, and he paid for the flight ticket for his player. And after everything is over, the university found out the coach paid for the flight ticket and gave free ride to his player. That's the direct violation of NCAA rule. So he was fired because of termination for just cause. So we believe that it doesn't make sense. But NCAA indicate that any coaches, any head coaches, assistant coaches shouldn't provide any benefit, especially financial benefit or other benefit of convenience in terms of providing the free ride to the player. Yeah, he lost his job. He lost his job since then. Okay, and then I want you to read number 3 in McKenzie versus Wright State University. An assistant coach for the women's basketball team was terminated for her employment after she repeatedly violated the NCAA extra benefit. Providing free ride is a kind of an extra benefit rule, prohibiting transportation of athlete by the coaching staff. The coach knew that transportation she provided violated NCAA rules, but violated the rules nonetheless. If you wanna provide transportation to your athlete, there's some regulation. You have to use university-owned buses or vehicles, and then it can be happening during off operation hours, especially late night. Okay, that's the violation. So it should be probably 7 to 6 or 8 to 5, whatever operation hours of university has. Any questions so far? And then what about this one? The reasons for termination. This is without cause. If I'm the basketball coach, I broke my leg or I have some other personal issue, I resigned, I breached my contract. There's no reason. I didn't commit any wrongful doing, but I just want to retire. I know I have a 3 year more left in my contract, or I was offered better position from other institution, then I just want to resign. It happened. But some of the situations, rejection or counteroffer, termination. So once the contract was established, then you can change your mind. Hey, let's have some exhibition game, Chinese team and Korean team, and then you try to take some action to make it happen. However, some reason, some other challenges occurred, and then you can counteroffer. Hey, I know we have a contract on a certain day to have an exhibition game, but can he reschedule? So it can happen after it's effective. What about lapse of time? Lapse of time, termination right away, lapse of time. The UMass sends a letter of intent to a proposed scholarship to student athlete which state if the letter of intent is not signed by a certain date, it is no longer valid. So letter of intent is some kind of a contract when university students play their unique sports they play, then you need to sign this letter. If not, you're not able to play in NCAA level. So once you sign this letter, then you will lose all the opportunity to make financial gains from your name, your images, your likeness, and your gestures, etc. Okay. So whatever you wear, like a number 10, I'm the basketball player, like a Jong Yo-gun. So Hanyang University makes money selling his jersey in the merchandise shop. When people purchase the jersey with number 10 in the back, Jong Yo-gun's name on it, they purchase because they like Jong Yo-gun, right? But Jong Yo-gun never get any financial benefit. So this is one of them. Who get the money? NCAA. To wear? University. Even though you're playing basketball in Mars, you won't get the right back, because letter of intent specifically say you will give up the right to use your name, likeness, and image, etc. in the university. So this is one of the ridiculous regulations. So there's a couple of lawsuits going on right now. So if I have a chance, then I'm going to explain. O'Bannon. Have you heard about O'Bannon? O'Bannon was the very famous power forward at the UCLA in 1994 and in the mid-1990s. And he played for NBA for a short period of time. And he retired. And in mid-2000, 2005 or 2006, he was playing video game with his friends. EA Sports, and then he playing himself. I'm O'Bannon, I'm playing me at the video game. And then his friend asked him, do you make any money out of this? And O'Bannon said, no, I don't make any money. So his friend are kind of curious. Why not? Because they're using your name, your images. The icon in the video game looked exactly the same and used the same name, images, numbers, and also he's a left-handed. So the video, the O'Bannon in the video game is exactly the O'Bannon. So he filed a claim. 집단 소송. Some of the players actually claimed the same issue. Football players and basketball players, and then they partially won. EA Sports and NCAA cannot take all the financial right by using their name, images, likeness anymore. So EA Sports said, "Oh, okay, we're going to pay a certain amount of money to a certain number of players." So the first trial court was ended. So EA Sports pay a lot of money. I think 수천억 줬어요. The game's over, and then EA Sports will not make any college sports. They're not going to make football game and college basketball game anymore. Okay. And then NCAA actually working on, we are not going to give any money to the Jong Yo-gun or some other players because we're selling their jersey number. So they try to make very generic jerseys. We are not going to put number 2, number 10, or number 15, which resemble the current players. But instead, we're going to sell the genetic players, genetic jerseys, university name, and then no specific number, or very some unpopular numbers. So we don't want to match the jersey number and the actual players. So we don't have to pay any money to the players. So I mean, something is going on right now. And revocation. Promoter in Stockholm, Sweden, contacted Colorado Avalanche. John Kroenke. Stan Kroenke is the owner of Colorado Avalanche, and offers a schedule of exhibition game in London on August 15, 2005, between Colorado Avalanche and New York Rangers. So it happens a lot, right? So if I'm the owner, I just want to have an exhibition game to generate extra money. Especially I'm from UK or I'm from Sweden. One of my wish will be probably take the exhibition game to my hometown. So the Avalanche says it will think about the offer. I will think about the offer before the Avalanche can respond to the offer. Forsberg decides to retire. So whoever signed the contract retires or no longer in that position, then the contract will be void. You don't have to, because 계약 당사자 is not in that position. Interesting happened. Have you heard about former city mayor of New York, Giuliani? Former city mayor of New York, Giuliani, promised to New York Yankees and New York Mets to build a brand new stadium. $750 million stadium to each team. And who pays? New York State, New York City. And the new city mayor came up in late 2000. And he said, he looked at the contract. Oh, we don't have any money. How can he build 2 major baseball stadiums for free? Out of money, lack of money. So they renew all the contract, the breach of the contract. Okay, this contract will not be valid anymore. So he canceled the contract, and then New York Yankees had to pay up to $1.1 billion out of his pocket. Same thing. You can see what happened. Former city mayor who is in Seoul. Oseun promises a couple of things to make a better environment in Seoul area, right? And then new city mayor Park, he breaches contract. Okay, I'm the new governance, and then I have to continue what former city mayor said. So same thing, revocation. And then one more, death or incapacity. The New York Knicks of NBA offered their first round draft pick a 4-year deal with worth $8 million. Before the draftee can respond, he is fatally injured in a car collision. So death or incapacity, the contract will be void. And then there's one of the legendary female basketball coaches in the United States. Doesn't ring a bell at all. Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt is a former University of Tennessee women's basketball coaches. She won more than 1,000 games. The problem was, all of a sudden, she was late for the meeting. She never missed the meeting. And then when she called the meeting, she didn't know what to say. So she stand, and then didn't say anything for a while. So assistant coaches kind of suspected what happened to her. And then she diagnosed with Alzheimer. So apparently, she's not able to continue to perform her job as a head coach of University of Tennessee. Her salary was $2 million, more than $2 million. One of the top salaried coaches in women's history, 20억. At the time, the men's coaches in the same University of Tennessee, just making half of what she makes. Right? So, but university kind of tried to honor her. We don't want a breach of contract right away. We want her to coach as long as she wants to do it. So she coaches about 3 more years. And then finally, she stepped down. So this is one of them. What, I mean, it happens a lot in NASCAR. NASCAR. What they do? They have all kind of endorsement company's name, Hershey's, you know, or the company's name. And then, what if they passed away? They die during the race. Automatic void of their contract, automatic breach of contract. Okay. Make sense? Okay. In early 2000s, so one of the Dale, I think, is it Dale Earnhardt? Okay, one of the NASCAR driver passed away during the race. And then I think Coca-Cola is one of the endorser, and then they didn't want a breach of contract right away, even though they are aware of he died. He doesn't exist. And then they extended 3 more months to honor him. So this is one of the great PR for Coca-Cola. However, technically we can say that Coca-Cola had the right to terminate the contract because the contractee died and no longer exists in the university. Okay, so let's take a look at one by one. So compensatory damages, specific performance, liquidated damages, provision, rescission and restitution, and then promissory estoppel. So this is 5 topics we're going to cover. I'm going to provide examples of each one of them so you can better understand what it means. Going back to this supplementary material. Also, in the meantime, I want to read all the reading packet because it explains more in depth than I explained in this class. Okay, number 1. So let's assume a sporting goods store agrees to sell X a football helmet for $125. X agrees to buy the helmet for that price, but the store now refuses to sell X promised good. The store is a breach of contract because they wanted to sell it and then they changed their mind. And X still needs to obtain the helmet. X goes to the 2 other stores in the area that sell the model of helmet and find that store is selling the helmet for $135 and store B is selling the helmet for $150. What damages can X recover? So I just highlighted to make it simple. I want you to remember this new principle of mitigation of damages. Okay. Which means he wants to buy the helmet at $125. Okay. And then they didn't want to sell it. And then I look around to find the same helmet, and then I found 2. The one store sells at the same product, $135, and the other store sells at $150. You cannot force them to pay this much because this is too much. So you need to reduce the financial burden of the person or party who breached the contract. So if you can find the same product at a cheaper amount of money, then you need to, this is a reasonable market price. They just owe you this much money, not $150. Make sense? Principle of mitigation of damages. I have my new cell phone and then you broke, Choi-Jin-soo, for example. And then I kind of claim, you need to buy my new cell phone. Right? I paid certain amount of money. And then it doesn't matter. If you can find the same product at a cheaper price, then you can buy and give it back to me. Doesn't have to pay more money than necessary. So that's the mitigation of the damages. Good? Okay, what about this specific performance? Specific performance. We are human being. We are human being. So we sign, for example, I just like to use Jung Yo-gun's example for this cases. I don't know how much Jung Yo-gun makes a year, right? But coaches may say, oh, Jung Yo-gun, we expect more. We believe you can play better than this. But do you think Jung Yo-gun can do it? He wants to do it better, right? But since we are human being, we cannot force him to score more point or get more number rebound. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, same thing. Sometimes he can overperform certain game and then underperform. So there's up and downs, right? So it doesn't matter how much you pay as a salary. However, we can do anything. Okay, Chano Park or Chu Shin-soo. Chu Shin-soo is still a great player, but according to how much he makes, I don't believe he did well this year. Okay, I'm not just saying he's not a good player, but compared to what he makes a year, then he should have done better than what he did. So what about some unique items? Unique item. This is only one item. Barry Bonds. How many home runs Barry Bonds hit in his record? 1 year. 73. He hit 73 home runs in specific particular season. So the person who got his 73 home run ball tried to sell it online. For example, eBay. I want to sell it. I want to make $1 million by selling this home run ball, 73 home run ball. And then one person said, "Oh, I just want to buy you your home run ball at $1.5 million, about 15억." Okay, and then he signed the contract. Okay, let's do it. Make it happen. All of a sudden, his friend asking, "Hey, how much did you sell it?" And I said, $1.5 million. Are you kidding me? You could have made $3 million at least. So he changed his mind and he sent a message to the buyer. "I'm so sorry. I know we agreed the contract. However, I changed my mind. Can I cancel the contract?" And then the other party filed a claim. "I gotta buy it because the contract was done. It's a done deal. $1.5 million. So if I don't want to sell it, then what's going to happen? Do you think I have to sell it? Or do you think I can make my word back? Choi Sun-jung, what do you think? 73 home run ball, $1.5 million. Okay, I said it, I signed the contract. Okay, transaction, I click the OK button. Okay, ding dong, and done there. My item was gone on the eBay list. No more on sales. And then I changed my mind. It feel like I lost $1.5 million because I could make up to $3 million. And then you send an email. Okay, my mistake. Okay, I made a mistake. I happened to click the button, but I didn't mean it. And then the other party was upset. What are you talking about? You just clicked OK, which means you accepted it. And then this is only one item. Barry Bond home run, 73 home run ball is a unique item in the world. you cannot buy this item from anywhere else.
I think anyone have the right to withdraw the purchase within 7 days, 14 days.
Okay, so that's probably very practical issues. Okay, so I think most of the online business transactions, so 7 days of cancellation, right? So if you don't want to buy, or if you whatever happens you don't like the product or services, then you can cancel. You may cancel within 7 days. I think that's the more practical perspective. But what if it passed more than 7 days? Like eighth day, okay, no more opportunity. Okay, no one can protect you. So if you want to handle the only item in the world, then you have to let it go. You have to sell it. Or if you want to make it happen, then probably you can ask them, hey, I cannot sell this. However, I want to give you something else. So you're trying to convince it. That's the only way. If the other party keep asking, hey, I need the ball, then you got to do it. Because that's the only item to make or to satisfy the other party. Or you can offer like, I'm going to give you $2 million. Okay, if he says okay, then probably you lose $500,000 right away. An example: suppose you agree to sell Baby Ruth uniform that he wore in a particular game against Cleveland Indians. There's no other jersey worn by Baby Ruth. On that day, it is unique item. I agreed to buy the jersey for $30,000. And then the other party changes his mind or her mind. And then I file a claim. I want to buy. And you said it. Okay, you need to sell it then. Okay. Or probably you need to convince me not to buy it by giving some other benefit, anything.